Hello everyone, today I'm here with Joel Larsson. You are 2 times Pro Tour champion. I'm not sure if the second one counts completely because it's like the Players Tour. Either way, you won 2 times. You have 1 more Pro Tour top 8. I think you lost in finals, and you have 8 GP top 8s with 1 win. And we also used to be teammates, so I'm glad I can talk to you today. How it's going?
I'm all good. It's really hot in Sweden right now, so I'm like sweating in my apartment. But I can't complain though.
Yeah, it's hot here as hell as well. You're like norther than us by a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like 30 degrees right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty hot. Yeah.
It's very...
And I don't think my apartment is very well isolated either, so it gets really hot.
I see. I asked you on Facebook what you're doing, and you actually mentioned that you like to make ice cream. So I assume that comes in pretty handy if it's so hot.
Yeah, it's tough. Like the thing is, I got like this ice cream machine from my girlfriend and her mother when I graduated, and I've been starting to make like artisan ice cream since. Like I think it's fun to cook and stuff, so it's kind of been a challenge, and I've been like looking up all this like masters in making ice cream and like talking with some of them in Stockholm and shit like that. So I've been going pretty deep on that, but so I found it to be really fun, but you can't eat ice cream otherwise you're gonna become very fat.
So how does it actually work? You just take like fruits and stuff and you put it into the machine and it just makes it?
Well, the way I do it, it's pretty like technical in a way. Like you go with there's like different batches. You can do like the brown one, which is like with chocolate, or you can do like vanilla or with eggs, and you have to temperature those at a like perfect amount for the blah 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 to coagulate and stuff like that. And then you add it to the batch and you like freeze it for 6 hours down to like certain temperature. It's very like chemical, because you need everything to like breathe correctly, and you need the blah 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 to do their thing. So it's more like you assemble a bunch of batches and you have them overnight, and then you can put them in an ice machine or an ice cream machine, and that kind of spins around while it goes to a lower and lower temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's doing that, it creates like ice crystals along the wall, which it scrapes off. That's how it works. So it like pops it up, it like waves air into it while creating ice crystals. So that's
I see. You mentioned
more complicated than I thought.
No, it's fine. I don't know anyone else who like makes his own ice cream, so I was just curious. I don't know. You also mentioned that you sorry.
Right now, because we're both like trying to work out a lot and train, so I can't do it as much anymore. Trying to do it in special occasions. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're working out a lot right now? You're just like going to gym and stuff?
Yeah, like every second day, me and my girlfriend try to go and work out. It's really hot at the gym right now, so we tried our outdoor gym, but it's kind of become shitty since last year because all the things have started to break down. So I think we have to move back to the indoors gym. But we try to work out. Yeah.
I see. You also mentioned that you graduated. I think it was like computer science or something. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I did my first year in 2014, and because I didn't really know what to do, but I had to do something that wasn't like a shit job, and that was like during when I played like Magic on the highest level, and then I won like in Vancouver 2015. So then I decided to play Magic full time. So I did that like for a couple of years, and then I decided to go back and finish my degree. So I did finish my degree between like 2018 and 2020-ish.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it, and I didn't really believe you that you're gonna like finish your degree, but you did. So congrats.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. It was kind of crazy because I don't know if you remember, but back then, like I stopped trying to get to a certain level. So back in that previous system of the Pro Tour, like your level degraded like every 3rd month. Like it was consistent of a year back from the current time.
Was it then already? I think
I
when
think
we
so.
when we talked about it for the first time, it was still the old system, but I'm not like 100%.
Yeah, it was the old system, but it was like
I think you already started studying when they changed the
yeah.
system.
That might be true, but I stopped trying to do stuff. So I was platinum, and then I became gold, then I became silver, and then you became nothing. And then this changed into the new system. So do you remember that they invited back players to Brussels, like the Play Store?
They
invited back players who were like silver or higher from the previous year because they didn't have enough attendees in the new system.
Oh, I don't remember
So they
that.
invited those players to the Play Tour. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that either. And then Elias Wasswell told me, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go. So I was like 100% focused on studying then. So I saw like a vacation, like Pro Tour Brussels, like, okay, nice, I'll go there, play some Magic. It's going to be a nice time off. I'll test a little bit. And I ended up testing a lot more because I thought it was fun. And then I won the Player Store.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, I see. I see.
So then somehow I got like back into Magic, even though I really didn't plan to, because then COVID came, so they cut the system, right? You just added people into rivals and based on the current standings. And since I won the first tournament, like I got into rivals, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm back. I didn't really plan to, and I mean, but it's been nice though. It's good money. I mean, you can't really.
That's how it usually goes. Like when someone who used to be really good just like decides to quit, they just like immediately win like a tournament. Just like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. As you try to get it out, they drag you back in.
Yeah, they just like drag you back, so you have to like kind of continue, and then you just keep suffering because you just start losing again, but you're just like forced to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then you like decide to quit again, and then you just like do well again. It's just always how it goes.
Yeah, it's our.
Can you move to the other side because like my face is on that side. Okay, nice.
Our common friend Strasky does the same, right? He even tried to invoke it himself, tried to write it on Twitter. Okay, I'm gonna quit now, so he can win something again.
I'm not actually sure if he would have quit. He probably. I think there were times where he was actually serious when he said that.
Yeah, a lot of talk.
So one thing that I'm curious about is that you were kind of like a known face in Magic because of your looks. Like you had this hair on the top, you always wore like a leather jacket. I even think that if you went to like the Wizards page, you were there with like your trophy.
Yeah.
But anytime I meet someone from Sweden, they're always like really good looking, like wearing like good clothes and stuff. Is that just like a thing in your country, or like what is going on with that?
Well, I mean, for me, I didn't really have the same experience in Sweden, like you say. I mean, people are.
I didn't meet that many people, but the ones that I met were like that. So.
Yeah, no, but you're right. I mean, it sounds weird to say it, but people in general in Sweden, both guys and girls, I think they value like having nice clothes and looking good and like taking care of themselves. That's just the culture. So for me, like I didn't feel like I was any special where I was living, And then when you came to like Pro Magic, it became like a big fish in a small pond, if you know what I mean. Where I mean, people where I come from, they care a lot more about what they look, and when people from different cultures come together at like a nerdy event, maybe that's not always the case, which is like totally fine. But I was kind of surprised at the beginning, like, but it was fun. I mean, I don't hate it. It was kind of I think Wizards wanted to make me a little bit of a poster boy at the time, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So I think that was good for my career also, of course.
So let's talk about your Magic career a little bit. You eventually became 2 times Pro Tour champion, but it wasn't always the case, right? Like, did you had like harsh beginnings, or how did you actually got there on the Pro Tour?
So I started playing like in 8th grade, if you go all the way from the beginning, and kitchen table Magic, etc. Then I went to a local game store and started playing, and that kind of became my second home because I loved, I got really hooked on drafting, and I did that a lot at my local game store. Probably spent all my money. I didn't really have money for anything else, honestly.
I definitely been there myself, so.
So played a bunch, and got to know friends through that. most of them were older than me, and they were all very competitive. And if you wanted to be a part of that like hierarchy, you wanted to be competitive yourself. And I think I'm competitive by nature, so it kind of fit. And after I graduated the gymnasium, like high school or whatever you want to call it, I had like a summer where all I did was like party and get hungover, and when I was hungover, I only drafted. Like that was like 4 or 5
sounds like my life. Like, are you sure you're not talking about myself?
I mean, that's how I was like an entire summer, and eventually, like, I graduated to one pro tour from a PDQ in San Diego, but I didn't do it that well. Like, I wasn't. I don't think I was so mature, and I chose a really poor deck.
What did you play? Do you remember?
I played Time Sieve, which Kenny Over made me play.
That sounds really
people
bad.
playing like Junt. Yeah, it was very bad. It was actually horrendous. But then later, and I did the summer thing, right? And I drafted a bunch, and we went to GP Paris, a few of my friends. It was like the
double event?
GP where there was a pro tour at the same time. It was like huge. And then I opened like a really good seal pool. This was in Scars of Meridian Limited. And so I went 901 in day one. So it's 10 rounds. And then I went 4-2. And I think I came like 13th on tiebreakers, which I was really mad about because that was during the time where they cut all the tiebreakers from day 2. If there was more than 2,000 people, do you remember that?
Yeah, I kind of barely remember that.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
The like old system made it so they couldn't like calculate pairs or like tiebreakers for more than 2,000 people, so they cut them. So I had really bad tiebreakers for going 4-2. It was kind of weird. But it qualified me for Nagoya, which was the next pro tour. So I went there, and it was block constructed. And I think me and my friend, we tested for so much. Like we were playing on like Cockatrice or like MTG workstation, like a few days a week, like a few hours. And we ended up playing this really nice homebrew, which I managed to get 10th with in Nagoya.
What was the deck?
And it was like a Grixis control deck like the name of the game in that block tournament was Temporary Steel Aggro. It was by far the best deck, and it was really hard to beat it. But I think we managed to find a deck which was like really good against it, while also having like a pretty good proactive plan. It was like it featured like Tesseret, the blue-black one, and Koth. So it's like a Grixis deck around those, and Battiskull, and then it had a bunch of removal. Like I think we even played like 3 into the core main deck, which is like 4 mana,
Destroy
instant, exile 2 artifacts.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy format. Ended up 10th, and next weekend was Nationals in Sweden. And then I remember I created my own deck list on the plane between China and Japan on like a napkin. So whenever I landed, I could like ask for those cards, like, and I built like a version of Coldblade. It was before the bannings in Standard. So you could play with Jason Mind Sculpture, Stompage Mystic. But I think I played with like a bit fewer lands, but also Gitaxian Pro main deck. It's kind of a cool list. And I came 3rd there, which qualified me for Worlds in San Francisco. And at the end of all that, because I kind of stringed it all together, I became level 6, I think, at the time. And that kind of just...
Level 6 was really good, right?
continue.
I think there were like 8 levels,
Yeah.
so that level 6 is probably pretty good, right?
Exactly, yeah. It was between the old platinum and gold. So you got qualified for everything, but you also got like $1,200 or whatever for showing up.
That's
It was
pretty good.
It was pretty nice, yeah. And platinum at the time, or level 8, was like $3,000 or something of the equivalent. So, and that kind of just made me continue to play every Pro Tour since. I haven't been not qualified for anything ever since. Until recently, I guess. Like this year.
Then you kind of shortly
like-
went like a Pro Tour finals into Pro Tour win or something, right? And then just like really put you on the map. Do you think you were
Yeah.
playing like
Yeah.
really, really well, or did you just like kind of got lucky? Like, what do you think objectively?
I mean, definitely both. I mean, I think you have to, of course, play really well, but when you play really well, you give more chances to be lucky. But you still have to get lucky in those chances.
Can you just move to the other side again? Because like my face is there in the OBS, so like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sure. No, what I was saying is, of course, I was lucky. Like, I don't imagine anyone winning much without being lucky. But if you play it really well, you give yourself more chances to be lucky, right?
Yeah,
That's just how it works.
You lost in finals with that Jeskai deck. I want to ask about that. So you like played it was like a control deck, but you also had like a Boros Charm in your deck. So like I don't really like. Did you just wanted to like stick to Revelation and then burn your opponent out, or like what was the plan?
I mean, the idea was that you had like Boros Reckoner in that deck, which was like the best card in the format because the format was based around Saito building a red-green Burning Tree Emissary aggro deck, which kind of dominated previously to the Pro Tour, and Boros Reckoner was like the perfect card to answer those decks. And if you played Boros Reckoner, you could also play Boros Charm to make it indestructible, and then if you give it lifelink with like Azorius Charm, if it took damage, you could keep redirecting the damage to itself. And since it was indestructible, it didn't die. And since it had lifelink, you gain life in all of those iterations. So that's like the main reason why it was in there, to have like this infinite life combo. And you could trigger it yourself with like Pillar Flame or Searing Spear. But as you said, like most of the games that didn't happen. Most of the games it was like aggro control deck, you get in a bunch of damage, you swing Revelation, and then you just kill them with Warren Charm and stuff.
I see.
I remember I had a match against Eric Frolik, like on day 2, and was playing this like Naya mid-range deck, and was really trying to play around the combo, like of me gaining infinite life, so it was like a race. So, because I played one moment of heroism in my main deck, like in my constructed deck.
What the fuck?
Which was a terrible card. But it kind of worked out because I remember I went like, okay, I'll use +2/+2 my Boros Reckoner, give double strike, and like attack for 10 lifelink damage to won the race that way. So that's more of how it's played out more often, that like you became this kind of a Delver deck instead. And against the aggro decks, you had a really good defensive plan of like the infinite life combo, Pillar of Flame, bunch of removals, Snap Consummation, Boros Reckoner. What's the 1/3 called?
Augur of Bolas.
Yeah, Augur Bolas, exactly, with Restoration Angel. So it could play really a lot of many roles. Yeah.
So then you won a Pro Tour with Monored, and as you said, you kind of like focused full time on Magic. Was that like a hard decision for you, or were you maybe like in the hype of just like all this fame and you just like wanted to keep doing this? Or
it was a really easy decision at the time for me, because I've I wasn't really that focused on school at the time. I kind of wanted to play Magic more. Like I was kind of like dabbling through my first year. Like I was, I was getting passed, but barely, like in all my exams, and I was playing Magic a lot. I was still traveling a bunch, so I'd already been thinking about going full time, but there wasn't like really a good reason to do it, because I didn't really have the bank to do it, and I felt like I needed just a little bit more, and like winning a Pro Tour certainly did that, Then you're like, okay, sure. I mean, if I'm ever gonna do it, this is gonna be the time. So even my mom, when I got home, asked me immediately, like, "Oh, so you're gonna play full time now?" Like she just anticipated it, and yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Do you regret that decision, or you think it was fine?
I don't. No, I. The thing is, like, I would never ever recommend playing Magic as full time as a viable career to anyone. Like, especially now that there is no pro system. But I think I would definitely regret if I didn't do it. And I think I've become like infinite experience richer, like by doing it, like traveling to all these countries, been over 40 countries in the world, met all this like really smart people that has influenced you, and you've been able to get a bunch of contacts that are valuable in later life. And yeah, I wouldn't trade it for a normal day job, for sure. I would now though, but not then, and I'm not.
Well, I think the idea isn't necessarily that like you choose it as your career, but it's more like, as you're saying, it's like a bridge to like other things later, because you just get all the experience and you learn stuff. But I agree
Yeah,
with
I
you
think-
that you shouldn't really go for it in like planning that you're gonna do it for 20 years. That's just
Yeah, I don't think it's realistic. I think I had some hope that one thing would lead into another, and I could like work in game design directly after doing Magic and stuff like that, because I always wanted to work in games. But it didn't exactly go like that. I still went back to school, to finish my studies, and so it definitely gives you a lot of benefits. But I think the biggest benefit of all is just getting to travel and do all this crazy shit when you're young, and which is great. I think live life a little, and then you can figure it out later.
okay. It was awesome talking with you today. Before we wrap it up, maybe you want to tell people where they can find you on the internet if you want to.
Sure, you can find me on Twitter, Joe Larsson. I think I'm called 9091 or something. And I don't really stream these days. I haven't done it for a while, so you should probably not look me up there, because I wouldn't expect any stream anytime soon. But you can find me there. There's also my email there if you want to give me a job in.
If you just want to give me
design or
money, you
whatever.
can email me.
Yeah, give me a job. That's fine. I'm searching for a job right now, so yeah, that'd be good.
All right. If you guys like the video, please click on the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.